Good morning. Welcome to the Monday meeting. Kathy presenting this or? That clock's actually on time. I was gonna say it looked new.
It's not connected to the.
Oh, so it's manual, so it works.
Take off the government.
Yeah. Curious on the work session tomorrow with Kelso.
Called for that.
Gina did? Okay.
I heard that they started their own.
Yeah, you about the Kelso School District?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met with them and their, the company tells what their program for their homeless youth and what they're doing for them. For unaccompanied minors.
Morning.
Good morning. Oh, we have all kinds of goodies up here today. Tissues, am I going to be crying? Kathy Funk Baxter, Finance Director. And Kelly, you're going to operate this. Okay. Okay, we have risk management that we're going to, here's a copy. Oh, you have a copy. Okay, we're going to do their financials. So the first thing is their revenue for risk management. This is the account that has all the expenditures for the risk pool primarily. And this is the account we do internal billing. So we bill our departments, and for goods and services, we budgeted $3,368,000. We've brought in $3,372,000. So we're slightly over budget there. And then on miscellaneous, we budgeted $50,000. Our actuals are $60,000. And so we're over budget by about $10,000 there. And that's the investment income on that, on the fund balance during the year. So nothing unusual on that. We'll go to expenses. So we have personnel expenses budget $264,000. Our actuals are $236,000. We're a little bit under budget there, and we will continue to be through the end of the year. We have one open position. Supplies budget at $4,000, a little over $4,000. We've spent $1,750. And then we have services budgeted at $2,802,000. This is where we pay our premiums, assessments to the risk pool, and we've expended $2,771,000. So just right on target, a little bit under budget, but on target. And then on transfers, we budgeted $850,000. Our actuals are $850,000. Of that, $300,000 goes to the liability claims transfer out to help pay the expenses for legal and litigation and tort claims. And then the other $550,000 was repaying the general fund from 2024 when we needed some additional cash to cover those premiums they billed us in October of 24. So that's basically, I don't forecast or see any major changes on risk management. We're pretty much done for the year because we won't pay the assessments until January of 26. So, and she's she's going to talk about that in her presentation. Any questions on expenses?
The only thing I think I'll put, note, because we talked about it last week, is we're looking at not at this point in time filling that open position.
Right.
We're gonna try and, work that we have capacity within the commissioner's office, and I think in HR is gonna try and help with that role, and we'll see
Correct.
how it goes.
Correct. Mhm. So for the 2025 budget, 2026 budget, we've left the position in, but it won't be filled until it's ever approved in capacity. Looking at that, so. Okay, go to industrial accident. This is our workers' comp fund. Again, this is internal service billing. We bill out departments. And we budgeted 796,800. We brought in 796,850. On our miscellaneous, we budgeted $21,097. We're currently at 28,570. That's investment income on fund balance. So there will be no changes on that for the rest of the year, probably, other than posting the last month of investment income. On services, we have, on the expenditure side, we have 796,800 posted. This is for a budget, and this is where the active claims are paid, as well as the excess workers' comp policy that we have. And so far, year to date, we have 603,000 expended. So we're on track to, actually, we may be a little bit below budget, but I don't know if we have to pay the workers' comp in December or January.
Correct. Shelley Pierce, Risk Management. We pay it
January.
December 31st.
Yeah. So anyway, so we expect to be right on budget for this fund. Okay, next is liability claims. And liability claims is where we pay, we have a transfer in, which is basically, I'm sorry, we have miscellaneous at 153, 351 budgeted. We only brought in a little over 3,000 there. The rest of that budget is for the insurance proceeds that we expected for the annex to recover our cost of the repairs there due to the flooding. And that's not expected to come in until January now. We had one late submission of an expense, and so those are all the claims have been turned in, and they're telling us 45 days for payment from the risk pool. And then they will subrogate to the parties' other insurance for the vendor.
So they reimburse us, then they go to the vendors and get themselves reimbursed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
They reimburse the risk pool, and then the risk pool reimburse us. And then the claims management process goes after the vendors. So yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, on the expenses for liability claims, we budgeted 453,000 because that includes the repairs to the annex building. And so far, we've expended 217,960. Don't expect this count to be over budget. We pretty much only have one more month of claims that should come in on this account. And those are things for tort claims, legal fees and things the risk pool bills us for.
Our property liability is the only one that did not go up. with the
Correct.
risk pool.
That is
Okay.
accurate. Yep. The only one.
And then I'll turn it over to Shelley to discuss operational presentation for risk management.
Perfect.
Want me to pull the slides up? All right.
It should
Oops.
go. Again, Shelley Pierce, Risk Management. This is our December presentation. Oh, it's not. Kelly will load it. Here it comes. There it is.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. So old business, we had an insurance. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Insurance comparison updates. Cowlitz County provided Alliant with a letter of authorization for the WCRP. They executed that letter last week, and so we were able to get some additional information provided to us from Alliant, which was very helpful as we move forward with insurance comparisons. I'm also working with Gallagher to review our excess workers' comp policy that renews at the end of this month, like Kathy stated. For our 2026 risk pool invoices, they arrived on November 25th, totaling $3,391,634,500. Liability costs increased by 45%, which is a year-over-year increase of $865,880,000. So it was, I think when Commissioner Rader went to the conference, we were informed it would be an increase of around 38%. And for us, for Cowlitz, it was actually 45% rate increase percentage-wise. And then Kathy also mentioned we're waiting on that final reimbursement for the annex flood. We just had a final invoice came in when Noxious Weeds went over to look at the new refurbished site. They realized we're missing some cabinetry that was over there when they were originally over there. So we put in an invoice for the reimbursement of that. So I'll be getting that soon. Oh, it doesn't do it. Okay. So incidents reports, we're totaling 73 for the year. 31 resulted in a workers' comp claim. Total incidents in November were 7. Next slide. So our workers' compensation claims, out of our 31 claims, we had 10 opened as of November. New claims in November were 3, and then we closed 1 claim in November. Total paid to date for our claims is $48,689 and some change. Our average claim amount is around $1,571. The average days open for the claims for 2025 are 48 days. Then on the next slide, you'll see a 5-year comparison. So there, again, 31 claims, current open from the last year 3, averages about 1,571. Our average days open per claim around 32.35, and then the average cost per claim is $1,328. We're still carrying a claim from 2015, so hopefully that will be settled by year end, if not first quarter of 2026. Next slide is our current open claims breakdown. Of our 10 claims, it goes over reviews that 3 of them are roads administration, 2 sheriff, 1 noxious weeds, 1 youth service, 1 public works, and 2 parks and recreation. Amounts paid per date, $657,417. Amount incurred, which are still that bills are still coming in, around $892,647.92. Next slide goes over the year-over-year comparison breakdown based on department. Nothing's really changed from last month. Claims still remain the same, as well as percentages for each department. Next slide is total claims in a 5-year comparison. It shows you 2025, 2024, 23, and so on. Claims year by trend just shows for 2025, we've got 31, 3 opened from year over year, 20 closed, and 3 denied. 6 denied. And it goes over 2025, and then the 5-year comparison shows you some trends. Moving on to liability claims, next slide. As of the end of November, we had 14 liability claims, still with 4 SAM claims. New claims in November were 4, and then we closed 1 claim in October. Claims in litigation, we are at 14. All 14 have some form of litigation that involve an attorney. Claims cost year-to-date $71,220.87. Special projects, moving on. So Northwest Enforcement Security Update effective January 1st, 2026. Administration Building, HHS, Event Center, and our museum will no longer have a security presence. Cowlitz County will still remain our security contracts for youth services, corrections, and our HOJ buildings. So in talking with Northwest Enforcement, if ever there's a lull in whatever's going on at youth services, corrections, or even maybe there's low courts and things like that where they don't have a high demand, they'll redeploy security. And so they've said that they come over, do kind of a visit just to kind of keep that presence if there's the availability with staff. So that's what's really nice about working with Northwest Enforcement is the word will get out that they no longer have security. So we don't want the word to get out that the presence isn't always here. So it won't be here like it is right now, Monday through Thursday. But again, if ever there's a lull over at the courts, corrections, youth services, they'll redeploy that staff. We already announced in-person CPR training for first quarter is scheduled February of 2026. I believe we have space for 1 or 2 more staff members because the class is only available to 10 staff members. If you want to reserve your spot, email risk management. And then we've been working on our launch for our new learning management system, LMS. It's Vector Solutions. So we've got a team that's been meeting weekly to meet with our deployment implementation director, which has been really helpful. We've also been looking at by department which training should go with each department assignment. So we're trying to set us up for success. That way, when it's deployed and launched in January, it will, knock on wood, launch without any glitches. And that is our December presentation. Any questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, our next presentation is for roads. Sean's going to join me because he's got some additional information to share. So in county roads, we have the road fund, which is a fairly large fund. They bring in taxes, property taxes. We budgeted $15,713,000. We brought in a little more than that, $15,798,000. On intergovernmental, we budgeted $16,516,000. We brought in $4,649,000 basically. So we are under budget by a little over 11 million. And so I'll turn it over to Sean to provide some explanation on that.
Well, first, I'm going to go back to, Sean Roy, Public Works. First, I'm going to go back to taxes and just talk about taxes. We have 2 major taxes that fund that. First one, of course, is property taxes. The second one is going to be our timber taxes. That one has come in above budget for the year. We're still seeing a strong timber activity. So we're looking forward in 26 on maintaining that. For the intergovernmental, I kind of wanted to pause until we get to the expense side. We could talk about our capital projects because those are related hand in hand. Both the intergovernmental and our other financing sources, the ARPA dollars, are going to be directly related to that. And Susan's going to be able to share more on statuses and updates on those projects.
Okay. So goods and services, we have budgeted 350,000. We've brought in almost 830,000, so we are over budget, which is a good thing. Have an excess budget for revenue of a little over 400,000. And then on miscellaneous, we budgeted 530,000. We've brought in 680, almost 688,000. So on that line as well, we are over budget.
So that miscellaneous is going to be mainly our interest income, but also recoveries for damages to the road system, such as guardrail and things of that nature. So we have seen more collections this year than we have in the past on that line item as well.
Ron, could you go back to the intergovernmental?
Mhm.
What's the reason we only have 25% of what we budgeted?
So when we created the budget, we didn't expect to be doing as much work for other cities, such as Kelso or Castle Rock during our chip seal program. We did end up working with them on that. I'm not sure if we did striping with them this year. We did not. So it's going to be mainly our chip seal activities with the cities, both for materials, labor, and equipment.
Intergovernmental.
Oh, sorry. Did you say intergov or goods and services?
Yeah, he said,
Intergovernmental, we
Oh.
budgeted 16 million, we brought in 4.6.
So most of that's going to be related to our grant programs, both our Department of Transportation, FEMA dollars, things of that nature. When we get to the expense side and start talking about capital, because we'll see this a similar status for the capital expenditure side. Susan has a description of projects and the current status of those. So I was hoping to pause on that until we could get to that point.
and on the other financing, most of that is ARPA dollars, again, for road projects that hasn't been reimbursed yet.
Correct, 100% there. Hasn't been expended yet.
And hasn't been reimbursed and hasn't been reimbursed because we haven't expended it yet. Okay, on the expenditure side, we have personnel, budgeted at 9,479,000. Our actuals so far through, December 10th is 6,676,000. We still have, we still have the posting for half of November. I'm not sure if it's in there or not. And then 2 postings for December for payroll. So we're a little bit under target, actually quite a bit under target, but we also have some vacancies. We have 3 vacancies.
So yeah, as of today, that's a little over $7 million, $7,024,000 and change. We have had quite a few vacancies this year. We've had ongoing engineers, GIS, road crew, things of that nature. Additionally, we do have quite a bit of savings from our retirement with our PERS reduction percentages. And so we are over on both vacation, sick leave, in line for holidays. Summer help came in a little bit high. But our main savings currently are labor from unfilled positions, medical, and PERS.
Yeah, the new PERS rates took effect July 1. So that's providing some savings because when we originally budgeted 2025, we budgeted at a higher rate for the entire year. So it's a good thing. And it's also what's in our 2026 budget as well. Okay, supplies, we have budgeted 3,181,000. We've expended 2,141,000. So we're slightly under our target for that expenditure. Services, we budgeted 9,380,000. We've expended 7,654,000. Services contains internal billings, which were billed in January, but it also contains services for engineers and outside engineers and
Yeah.
other services.
So touch on both supplies and services. Services first, because we just talked about it. We have two main line items on that are under budget. First can be our ER&R billing. We bill that on a quarterly basis. The fourth quarter will be billed in January at that point, and we should be right on target for that one. The second one's going to be our repairs and maintenance line. We have approximately $640,000 remaining on that line, and we are in process of spending that currently. For supplies, we had a good year on our chip seal bids. Our rock bids came in under budget. Our oil, for road oil itself, we saw no increase this year from 2024. So we did have some savings there. Other than that, most of these other lines are over budget, and we're just spending the excess to maintain the roads.
Okay, and then debt service, that actual is a negative, but that's related to a financial posting that was done for, I believe, for leases or for SPIDA. Capital was budgeted at 18,271,000. We've expended 4,000,000, almost 4,082,000. And that's where you'll see that's a variance of about a little over 14 million, which relates back to our revenues being lower. So our expenditures are lower as well. You want to add more? You want me to?
No, Susan's gonna come on.
So good morning, Susan Eugenius, County Engineer. So as Tracy, Kelly and Sean have discussed, we did not complete our capital program this year, which is why you see that big disparity both in revenues and spending the capital. So I'm going to go through the big projects. We did successfully bid South Cloverdale this year, and that is a $7 million project. So of that $7 million, I didn't write it big enough, I apologize. Of that $7 million, we have $6 million of that coming from external sources. So that's part of that $18 million. We are out there working on it. I expect it to be about halfway done, and we are not even close. We've spent about $150,000 on that project so far. So that's a big difference from what we were planning on some of the other big projects that didn't go out. Allender Road Bridge replacement. That is also a grant funded project at 86.5%, which was changed to 100%. That one we awarded last week, so that one is definitely going next year. So those are two of the big projects that weren't done this year. The other big projects was early in the year, we decided to delay the Tower Road Bridge replacement on Rock Creek Culvert. So that one also had an external between ARPA and a grant from the state of $3 million. So that was delayed. We fingers crossed, getting the last property signed this week, and we have obtained all of our permits. So as soon as we get that last one, we will be going out to bid. So we should see that one in January. The other big project we did not complete or start this year was the Dyke Road reconstruction. That is going to be approximately a $5 million project with $1.6 million coming from CRAB. The engineer gave me that, the delay on that one that we've discussed is the 408, and the engineer sent me a description, his timeline of the 408 project. It's not that one, it's this one. So he submitted the 408 application in February of 2024. At that time, we submitted for the project itself, the work that we were doing, not the work that was related to this project because of the utilities. So the Army Corps came back in late March, so almost April, saying that they needed details on the utility relocation. So we worked on it with the utilities and we submitted revised plans in October. This is typical working with the utilities. The Corps acknowledged the receipt of those plans a couple weeks later. We got additional updated information from PUD and one of the fiber companies in April that we submitted. There was a minor request in May from the Corps, which we turned around in 2 weeks. And then in June, they wanted additional information from the utilities, which has been resubmitted. So we're hoping after all of these rounds, we will finally get this project off the ground and running. That is my sob story about that project. I know one of the other questions that you guys have asked was about how we got to the point where we have the fund balance that we have. So South Cloverdale has been delayed a number of times. Tower Road Bridge was supposed to be this summer, and so that's another one we saved money for. So we go in waves on projects. So in 2020, we completed 8 projects. 2021, we only did 3. And by projects, I mean big capital projects. This doesn't include our annual overlay, our guardrail repair, striping, any of those projects. So this is just our big capital projects. So 2020 was a big year with 8. Our lowest year was 2021. I guess we were tired that year. We only got 3 done. And then this year we are completing 5 projects this year, 2 significant sized ones, the Italian Creek culvert, Garlock culvert. We finished up the Air Creek culvert project, which we started in 2024. Then we have 2 smaller projects, the new guardrail and the delineators. And then we have the 2 that we've started. So I guess what other questions do you guys have for me? I'm willing to answer. And
I think you kind of went over these a little bit before. I mean, these
Yes.
are all things going to get done, just not this year. You were optimistic.
yes, I was optimistic. So I'm still a little optimistic next year, but I'm not as optimistic. The only other outlier that we have out there that has been lingering for a while is the Pleasant Hill Road culvert replacement project. So that is a FEMA project, and I don't have that. This time last year, I thought we'd be going out to bid on that project right now.
Yeah.
We have not heard from FEMA for a while. So we've reached out again. So I've included it in next year's plan as going out next year at this time. But if it breaks loose, it would be one I'd move up. So you'd see a budget amendment with me moving and adding a project, but
I come over that just to see it, and it's not a traffic issue. It holds the traffic other than people hit our
Hitting it.
guardrails once in a while, but man, it was pretty high. And
Mhm.
so I would hope it wouldn't take it out of there, but it was pretty high.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, this is totally off the subject, but I'm assuming Barnes Drive is ours too.
Yes, Barnes Drive is ours. I personally have not been out there to get eyes on it, but a couple of the engineers were heading out this morning to get a preliminary look on it and a preliminary, what are we going to
Pictures
do?
didn't look good.
No, there is a culvert down in there that we think
Failed.
failed. And the reason it failed that way is we found the old road plans. So Barnes Drive was a part of Old Highway 99 originally. And when they did the last upgrade of the roadway, they just paved over the concrete panels. So that's why we think we have that nice line break, because we think that one side at that panel, the whole panel dropped because of
Yeah.
the way.
Being
it's-
old 99, I was holding out faint hope that maybe it was washed out.
No, but the funding, the preliminary funding will come from FEMA, the preliminary cleanup, but the final project money will come through federal highways, assuming that we qualify.
Did have a question for you, Sean. Just for my reference, when we talk road administration, when I look at the public work or public services umbrella, what percentage is road administration or is that just another name for the same thing?
I would say roads is probably half of public works.
About half of the
Yeah.
whole? Okay. That was all. I was just curious.
Yeah, and something else, Susan brought up how we got here. So I think we get a question a lot on cash balances. And so I just wanted to bring up a little historical values on that, just so you guys have an idea of how it grew and where we're at currently. So as Susan said, 2020 was a large year of projects. We were spending down our ending fund balance there. Cash balance at the end of 2020 was $9.3 million. 2021 was 9.7. Still trying to spend, get those projects through. 22, we ended at 11.2. 23, 12.6. 24, 18.7. And currently we are at 19.2. So just a little bit of the growth. So really, we saw an exponential growth the last 2 years. And as we get through our projects, I expect to spend that through.
And
Is
that
it-
has a lot
we-
to do with 24, we meant
Yeah.
was when South Cloverdale was going to start, and we've bumped it 2 years. Same with Dyke Road, those two big projects. So we budgeted for them and then didn't spend.
And I know we had a pretty big round of inflation, so you would say it's actually real dollar growth above inflation too. We had a couple years where I know sitting here listening to the project and the costs were just
In
going through the roof.
24 and 23 and 25, we've had really good timber taxes. We've actually increased our budget significantly on those. Prior to that, we saw smaller values. So I think a lot of that growth as well is unexpected revenues coming in. And now we're,
From timber tax.
Mhm.
Makes you wonder if that'll stay with all the
It,
stuff they're doing to them. Yeah.
it's a gamble. Some
Yeah.
years it's nothing, some years it's a lot.
Sean, is that also in part due to the fact that there was ARPA money that was spent for specific projects and not money that was in that budget?
So our largest ARPA dollar project is Cloverdale. We've had a couple small ones that we've done accomplished. I believe Tower Road is ARPA partially as well. And
So yes, Tower Road was ARPA and the final project is partially ARPA.
so our temporary bridge and all the reclamation of the original project was ARPA dollars, and then the final bridge coming in will be ARPA dollars as well. But our biggest one by far is Cloverdale.
Cloverdale. Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Moving to agenda items, looks like Public Works is still there. You just gonna change seats, are you?
Sure, I'll switch seats. So the agenda item that we have for this week is a contract extension with Terracon Consultants. This is the firm that does our testing during the big projects. So they collect concrete cylinders and break them. They do our compaction testing and some other items of that nature. So to date in their contract, we had, the original contract was $100,000, and that is completely obligated. So we're extending this contract for 2 years to continue testing and adding an additional 150. As I rattled off all those big projects, you can estimate somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 of testing services from this firm for the bridge projects and other complicated projects. So that is why we're requesting a $150,000 increase and a 2-year extension. Right. I would at some point like a miscellaneous indulgence during the meeting. So whenever you guys have a few extra minutes for me.
Okay.
Want road conditions update?
Sure.
Or- Okay. So as we talked about, Barnes Drive is closed and we're going to have a couple of the engineers out at some point this morning to go look at it.
If they feel it's stable, will they open up one lane of it? Or, I mean, it's not a huge thing to get around, but
Yeah, if we get to a point where we feel that the other lane's stable, we will open it up, but we're doing an initial reconnaissance, and if we feel like there's a potential, we'll probably bring out the geotechnical engineer, which would probably be tomorrow before he could get back into town. We had him out last week looking at a couple things. So the only other road that I know of that has been closed long-term is Westdock. That's off of Pleasant Hill. So that one is still underwater. It just serves one home and they can go around it a different direction. When I was leaving the office, I saw that we had a tree down on a road, but I imagine they're out picking that up. That will be on and off all day today and probably through the week. The road crews have sent or are starting to send in their list of areas where they think there's permanent damage, so the engineers can start doing what they call preliminary damage assessments, so we can send those over to DEM to get ourselves on the list of eligibility. So that's kind of the plan for the week, and fingers crossed the rain doesn't cause anything else. Anything I missed, Savannah? Oh, yeah, my miscellaneous? Yes. Well, Savannah's telling me I should do this now, interrupt the flow of the meeting. So I have my last easement for South Cloverdale that I would like to request the board give permission to the chairman to sign.
that's your last unless it gets strung out a long time again.
Yes, but we have gotten these through the end of 2027. So if we're still working on the project, the end of 2027, something has gone horribly wrong.
Oh, that was pretty quick because the first time around you had to work to get a couple of those, so.
Yes, we did. So Anna has worked really hard to get these done.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy Funk Baxter, Finance Director. I have an agenda. I should have two agenda items.
Looks like 4 and 5.
Okay, so I have a contract for district court services with City of Castle Rock. Is that on the list?
Mhm.
And that's a contract we had negotiated rates for the first 4 years of the contract. So, and I think last week we had 2 that we already finished, City of Kalama and City of Woodland. So they're slowly trickling in because they're effective January 1. So I should have some more for you in this month for Kelso and Longview to finish it up. We also have some levy assessments for special districts, and these are some additional fire districts that have submitted their levy information and budgets for the approval. And then we have one for medical service district number 1 as well. So those are on the, I think, resolution. So that's all I should have.
Yeah, that's what it was showing. One district court for Castle Rock and then a resolution to certify a special district levy.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Gina, Looks like it's gonna be your day tomorrow. Or there's sheriff. Is sheriff on? Sorry, Gina, hang on just a second. Go ahead, Brad.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, because having some technical issues, but yeah, the item we have on for tomorrow is the 2026 contract with Northwest Enforcement for security here at the Hall of Justice, the jail courtroom, and the juvenile courtroom. And I know Shelley had referenced that in her presentation that the security at the admin building is being dropped. But as we had I guess it's an informal agreement with them that when people are available on this side of the river, they will come over and circulate over through the admin building area as well. So the cost on this is going to be just shy of $550,000 for the year. That covers 5 armed security officers and also provides for a vehicle for going between the sites and coming over to the admin building.
Okay. I'm just making notes. Is it probably a little increase from last year, but is it fairly comparable or what do you?
Yeah, the original contract from last year we entered to had, this year plus 4 additional years, but the cost each year is dictated by the CPI. So
Okay,
that's a 2.7 increase for this year.
okay, CPI 2.7. Okay. We good? Okay, thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, young lady.
Okay, I have several items. I apologize. They're sort of, several of them are kind of lumped together though, so it's not as bad as it looks. First 2 items on the consent agenda is a contract with Lower Columbia CAP and with Cowlitz County Habitat for Humanity. These are we're just extending the end date out on these contracts as they're still working on these building projects. So no additional funding, just extending the end date through the end of December of 26. On the motion agenda, the first contract we have on the agenda is our contract with our health officer, Dr. Krager. This is a 2-year, we're proposing a 2-year contract, so through December of 27. And that's the funding amount is for 2 years there.
Gina, can I just ask a quick question? And I know this is probably, what exactly, what does the health officer do for us?
There's a couple orders. One of the most frequent uses is our birth and death certificates. He has to sign all of those when folks come in and request those. He provides technical assistance to our nursing staff when they have complicated cases that they're working on.
Who's nursing staff?
Our nurses. When we get a communicable disease reported to us, and there are certain ones that we have to get more involved in, like tuberculosis is a good example of those, where our nurses are directly working with that patient, and he's providing medical guidance through that process to us. He's also our sounding board for any of our other things that fall under the health officer authority, like solid waste violations. If it's not clear to us and we may need to consult with Dr. Krager, we do that. Or if we have violations in our food establishments, for example, sometimes they get elevated to the health officer as well. He also, in our communicable disease cases, he helps to advocate with providers as well. So he will make contact with doctors' offices and things like that. They're coordinating care for a patient and trying to get things figured out and resolved through that process.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, items 10, 11, and 12 on the agenda. Item 10 is our contract with Washington State Healthcare Authority for criminal justice treatment account funding. This funding is specific to providing substance use disorder treatment services and for individuals involved in our criminal justice system. A good chunk of this funding has to be used for individuals who are also in a therapeutic court program, so drug court or mental health court. Following that contract, the next two are pass-through contracts to providers, Columbia Wellness and Cowlitz Family Health Center, who provide those services for us. Items 13, 14, and 15 are all coordinated entry related. Cowlitz Family Health Center, Emergency Support Shelter, and Community House on Broadway. What we are hoping to do here, we've just extended their contracts for 6 months and added what would be a 6-month allocation for that to align it with our consolidated homeless grant funding cycle. So we've transitioned these contracts to being funded with that funding instead of our local document recording fees. We're just trying to align the funding cycles there.
So on the 13, 14, and 15, if we wanted to look at these contracts and add more supervision, strings attached, whatever we want to call it, over these contracts to ensure that the services that they are being paid to provide are being provided in a manner that we feel is acceptable and that their books are acceptable, when do we do that? Do we have to do that now at the acceptance of these contracts, or can we amend them later, you know?
We either or, yeah, we could have that conversation now and hold this off, or we could look at another amendment, or when the contract, with these amendments, the contract would expire June 30th. So we could look at it that time too when we do look to do a new contract.
Okay. So if we don't do this, if we don't approve these now, this is funding that they're relying on and expecting to be renewed at the end of this year.
It's, at this point, it will expire the end of December, and then we wouldn't have an agency contracted to do coordinated entry for that piece of it.
And aren't there some services you can only get the services if you've been to coordinated entry? It's kind of a goofy
Right.
system a little bit, but
Right. There are some housing referrals that we can only refer people to if they have connected with coordinated entry.
So if we want to look at doing what we just talked about, when would you suggest we do that?
My suggestion would, I mean, we can, like I said, my suggestion would be to approve these amendments. We can have more conversation about what you would like to see. We could always do another amendment.
maybe a workshop or something before the next one comes due.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I don't have any objections, I might try and let you combine these tomorrow.
Okay,
We'll see if I don't have any people.
sure.
And-
Yeah, they're kind of
Because they're
grouped
kind of
together.
related, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We also tomorrow at 9:30 have a public hearing for our local homeless housing plan. So this is, we're required by Commerce to have a public hearing on our plan, as this is kind of a new plan to be adopted. So this is another touch point with the board for further review. If there's suggestions, additions, changes, it's also obviously an opportunity for the public to give comment on what they would like to see. What the process after the public hearing would be that, if there's further changes and suggestions, then I'll go back and make those changes. And then we would look at a date for it to be on like a Tuesday meeting for a final adoption,
When does the state say they have to have it?
the end of December.
Okay.
And if we adopt it, the state has to accept what we adopted. They have the ability to change it, right?
My understanding is that they'll review it, and if they have any feedback, then they'll reach back out.
Okay,
So we'll see.
yeah.
And then also tomorrow, a 10 a.m. work session with Kelso School District. They wanted to come and talk to the board about some funding. This is related to their homeless liaison position. They lost some grant funding and are looking for some alternative funding sources. So I've had a couple conversations with them about that. I've talked to the state a little bit about that as well. It sounds like the request will be for a partial FTE. I'm not sure exactly the amount. There's still some details to work out there if we decide to move forward with this. So they wanted to come and share with the board about that position, what it does, and what their request is. So that will be the 10 a.m. tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we have Housing Opportunities of Southwest Washington coming to talk to the board about their new affordable housing project out in West Longview. Probably another funding request. I think they're looking at about $1 million, hoping to secure from the county for that project. And that one we would be looking at primarily document recording fees, and maybe a portion of the affordable housing sales and use tax as well. And that's all I have.
Okay,
That's it, huh?
you think it's enough?
Oh, I did have another miscellaneous item. I sent the board a copy. We received a request to support from the Veterans Relief Funding. There's a meal box effort going on to get some meal boxes out to veterans. It sounds like they secured a small grant for $1,000 and are asking the county to match that with $1,000 from the Veterans Relief Funding. So I had sent that, the information to you last week. So just looking to see if that's something the board would like to support.
Is this the same Veterans Board that has the giant surplus that they do?
Yes,
Yeah. And we already provide vouchers for food, right?
we do. We
So
have food
We,
assistance.
we have that available to them right now too.
Mhm.
So this is an additional request on top of all that?
Yes, yeah. So we have, it's probably our most frequently asked for assistance is food vouchers that veterans can apply for, and they receive, I'm not going to remember the amounts. I think I sent it. It's quite a bit, 350, I think, for a single veteran and 500
Maybe 750 if they have kids.
for
or
a
something,
family.
yeah.
That they can get. That's for a 2-month period. They can ask to split it in half 1 month, half at the next month. So we have that available. We process those each week for that assistance.
So if this person with this grant, if they found a veteran and they wanted to give them something, it wouldn't preclude that veteran from coming to the fund we already have and saying, and applying for food help
That's right.
either, right?
No, they could come and apply for food assistance there. Yeah. So this is on top of what we already provide with the relief funding for assistance.
Yeah.
So is the question to have them come and talk to us about that program?
I could invite them in to come and share. Their request. This is sort of a one-time request. it was just a, like, kind of a one-time project that they were doing, putting together meal boxes for veterans. And so they got a small grant for 1,000, and then they were asking the county for $1,000 to match that, for these meal boxes as a one-time, effort.
And this is an additional service that they don't already provide.
That's my understanding. I don't think they regularly provide the meal boxes, so
Okay.
I think it came up recently. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's my understanding.
My only thoughts on it, it's not a ton of money and I don't, really care. What I'm cautious of is that we start changing the way we operate. You know what I mean? Then next year, what is it gonna be? And it tends to happen that way in these agencies, I hate to say. And then all of a sudden, we're not anywhere near the guidelines we've set for ourselves to do.
Mhm.
But, it's a small amount of money. I'm not really concerned about it. I just caution about it, I guess.
Sure. Any other thoughts, or we okay with this, or, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay. And now that's all I have.
Well. Are you how'd Castle Rock thing go?
Good,
So you're gonna be there Wednesday?
yes.
You know who's swearing you in?
Well, I heard it might be you.
Yeah. Violet asked me if I wanted to swear him in. I said, sure, Violet, I'll come and swear at you. So,
Yes.
okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Jennifer Leach took off. Okay, so. Yeah, all right. What we got? And we're not expecting Jessica, or we are expecting Jessica? Okay, so I think unless there's anything else for agenda tomorrow, I think. Oh, you guys are good, okay. HR stuff, I know we have the executive session, qualifications of an applicant. What do we think? Pick a time? 15, start with 15. Okay. Should we do that? We'll adjourn to executive session. Back from executive session. No decisions rendered. Anything else for today? Okay, we will adjourn and see everybody in the morning.